G'day YouTube, welcome back to my channel Bonsai Works. I've got a little shimpaku stock here that's had some little bit of work done in terms of a bit of wiring done in the past. Now it belongs to one of our club members who really wanted me to have a look at this for her. She doesn't know what to do with it, and she only put wire on it once. It's a nice little shimpaku that's been a little bit twisted. It's got a couple of little trunks in there. But I thought, what a great chance to show you how I go about these little trees. I want to almost create a little finished tree for her, so it's fully designed, fully styled. If this was mine, I would twist it up more and let it grow on for another couple of years. Twist it up meaning putting wire on it, heavy, and twist it up and put it in just grow it on, feed it, etc. Just let it grow. Because I want a fatter, bigger tree. That's why I would do it. But in this case, it's more she wants to enjoy it now. What's going to look like? Get a nice little tree out of it. All right. So I thought I'd take you through the process of how I do this. Now, I'll just try and open it up in here. Hopefully you can see. It's got some nice two little trunks in there. Pretty much starting at the base. Pretty much starting right at the base, which is good. So we can almost make this using two trunks. Some sort of twin trunk. I want to keep both. It's a very young material anyway, but it'll be a nice little tree in it. It's got a couple of bends, interesting bends and twists in it. But for me, one thing I always do is look at, do you want to keep it straight, upright, or do you want to actually do some more interesting stuff? And I think with this one, it'll be nice to tilt it, create a little semi-cascade branch, and then try and put this one somehow as an apex, a little apex in there and a semi-cascade branch in there. So that's my idea of what I want to try and do with this tree. So probably the hardest wire to put on is that big one that I've put on now, and you can probably see how heavy it is. I need the heaviness so that I can easily bend this trunk without having to, really tweak it and so on. I can just bend it and it sits in position, which is what I want to do. I'm using aluminium to do this, anodized aluminium. But first things first, what I need now, I've wired the main trunk, wired that one and this one. So now I need to find the angle that I want to have the tree on at if I'm going to do a cascade. So I use a little block of wood and just try and find roughly where I'd like the angle to be, maybe something like that. I know it's a bit unsteady, there you go, a bit unsteady, but you get the idea. So I'll probably have to get a few more pieces of wood just to give it some support. Just by doing that, and now I can actually look at what I'm going to do now with it. So I've got the angle now, and now I can start to position it. So if I look back at it, I try and set, the other idea is, the other thing I can actually do, without even thinking too much, is try and get out of the pot. So it's another idea which is probably better. So you can see how healthy the roots are. I only do this work on healthy trees. That's the other good point I should have made. So I can probably just put it easier on that way. Now I start to bend. At least I try and want to see if I can get the cascade branch down and into an exciting shape. So I just bend the wire and just see if I can create something cool. And with the heavy gauge wire, it's going to bend. So you've got no problem there. So I'll just come back and show you. Maybe I won't have it on some angle for now. Just let's have a little angle. Something like that. You can see easily already bent that quite nicely. I probably have to go a bit more down. Create a bit more shape. So now I have to wire all these branches down. So at least I've got a nice little small cascading branch starting to happen. Now the tricky part is this apex. The cascade was the easy part. Now it's all about this. Now what are we going to do with this? Trying to get at least create an apex in here, and then probably have another branch in here that creates like another branch just up here for the apex to work. So I just got to be a bit more, just be a bit creative. Try and twist it around. And then try and twist this back on itself. So I've twisted it around and coming back. Now I'm trying to flatten it out and kind of let it flow with this trunk. So by having a heavy enough gauge of wire, that was very easy to do. So it's kind of going to be nicely sitting in there. Looks very messy now, but you can probably just see cascade branch. I've got a branch up here, Now I'm going to work on trying to figure out how I'm going to build an apex in here. Just a nice small one to keep a nice natural flow. So I've fully wired the tree now, wired all the branches out. I'm trying to do this angle because I've been told it'd be good to get a point of view or close to point of view angle on me restyling these trees and wiring them up. So let's hope this all works. But I've fully wired the tree now. You can see close up of all the wiring. I've wired all this area. So now it's a matter of placing. And as I keep saying, once you fully wire a tree, you can go for it and really figure out where you want everything to be. So here we go. So let's work on the cascade branch first. I like the movement in it. Now you can see the movement quite well. I'm pretty happy with it. I set that earlier. Now it's a matter of working out where all these branches are going to go. So I try and position branches where I think they'll need to go. Watch out for the mosquitoes. So kind of done this arrow shape. You can see the arrow head almost around there. I've got a couple of little branches up here that are creating another little pad up here in that area. So now I'm just working to make sure these back branches are all set right too. Some are a bit too long, that's all. I'm just cutting back at the stem, not at the tip, making sure you cut back to a branchy bit. Plucking underneath. Just making sure we've got back branches in here too. Now I've got another little, I'll just move this one away, but I've got all these little branches here that I'm just going to bend around and try and create another pad a bit higher up. So I'm trying to form a pad in here. The lower one, which needs a bit more plucking to do. Don't like things going down, of course. There's so much foliage it doesn't matter, so let's just get this pad right. I've got another one up here I want to probably set. Now the branches are a bit young, but let them grow into those shapes rather than just go wild. And this one can just fit in nicely around here, I reckon. Probably just needs a bit more fine wiring on this branch because it's got a lot of sub branches, but pluck everything underneath. It's not too bad. So kind of got the cascading happening. There's a nice little branch. This one's just a bit higher. and there's another little layers, and the main branch. And we've got some back branches in here, which is really good. This needs just some fine wiring. Now let's set all this other bit, the apex part. So first I'm going to put this branch somehow in place. I think it's too long, but we'll work on that in a minute. So we can kind of, I've already heavy wired it. Now I do have the angle set on the tree, so I want everything to flow in that direction. So when we replant, it'll be on this angle. Just yet, I just want to make sure I get all this branching in place, because I'm going to try and form an apex all in here. So I need these branches. So it's just this one out here that's a bit too long. So it's really important to keep all these ones. They're a bit too heavy in growth, so I will need to reduce some of the underneath bits. So we're starting to create a little bit of an extra layer here. So that's going to almost be like a lower branch of the apex. Now you can see my issue with this big tall branch, so that looks like it's going to go, but we'll keep working through. We've got a little one in here, and then we've got one in here, which maybe we'll create a next layer. And this is probably going to be the apex part. Okay, so we've got an idea of what branches I've got in here to work with. I know that's too long. Got a nice branches, got some back ones in here too, which we'll work with. But let me get the side bit now right, because I don't want it too long, and this branch is a little long, so unless I can reduce it. So nice, should be able to reduce that nicely into a shorter branch, so it's not too long. So once I bend it, then I've got branches on the inside of curves which have to go, or they just get crushed. Again, I need to just fine wire some of these branches. So I'm trying to put a little pad here, so you can see that going to happen. I've got a little branch in here which I might bring forward. Because the other thing is, there's a big twist that I've got in here, so sometimes it's nice to just hide a little bit of that. I don't show it all off. It's just nice to... So now I'm just creating different layers of pads. I need to pluck underneath foliage. And it's still, again, very young material, but it needs to be done now. Otherwise, it's just not gonna... So I'm just reducing the length of all this. This is too long. So thanks to the people that have given me feedback on my videos, especially this. There's been a number of requests for point of view videos, and this is actually might be okay, might work out well. So let's hope you guys can see this pretty well. So I know a few of you asked for it, so hopefully this works and you're happy. I didn't have to strap it to my forehead or anything like that, the camera. Please note, I'm a one-man show here. I don't have any help at all doing all the camera work, so it's just me. And I only use my iPhone. That's it. I don't use any other special camera tools and stuff like that. So just my iPhone and a shotgun mic. So that's the only other thing I've got is a shotgun mic, not a lapel mic. So that's how I do it. And being a one-man show, it's always just all on me to get the footage right and get everything looking good as best I can. So at least we're starting to have all this working in here done. There's a few bits we've just got to tweak around, but it's looking okay. Now remember, apexes aren't made with one straight branch, it's made of many branches. So you can see how I'm starting to position a lot of these. So I've got to have some back branching as well. And sometimes if there's a branch that's at the back, I raise it and then bend it back down, which I've just done here. So I've just done it here with this branch. I've raised it and then brought it back down to create another layer in the apex, even this one up and then back down. Bring this one around just to make sure, round out the apex. And now we're pretty much up here. Now, you can probably see pretty coming along really well, except definitely that one's got to go, so I will remove it. I'll cut it back to here, I reckon. and leave these little guys, which should be okay. I think they'll be okay there. It's getting good. So now it's just in here. There's a bit of too much foliage in around here, so we'll just get rid of some of these. Again, I'm just plucking the underneath stuff. Let the top stuff grow. If it's too long, give it a little trim, but trim it at the branch, not at the tips. So now this apex has a number of little small sub branches which I haven't wired, mainly because when I bend this into place, I want to try and create something interesting, and then I'll wire what I need. So go backwards, so shorten, and then bring it forwards. But in this case, I want to move in this direction. So you can see quickly, have a little twist in it, put it in here. But you can see all these little sub ones, I've got to just wire them if I need to. But bent it backwards, then twisted it around into here, into the direction of this apex, into this part. So I just got, I think this branch I need a slightly heavy wire actually. Didn't wire heavy enough. So if that's there, just got to position a few things. So from point of view, that's how I style this tree. Needs a bit more work in this area. I will fix up a few bits and pieces, but you can see how I'll put it all together. Alright everyone, so here is what it looks like once I'm done with positioning and tweaking and so on. I couldn't really wire all these little ones, they were just too small. Just let it go, got to let it grow out a little bit. So pretty cool, you can see the tree, all dimensions. It's pretty nice. That's probably in the front somewhere in here where you guys can see. You can see the nice apex created with all these branches, and then a nice little semi-cascade branch in there. So that's how I create these little guys. I mean, I know they've been very popular when I try and sell them. They pretty much sell out almost immediately, but they take so long to grow. But this one belongs to a customer. I mean, sorry, one of our members at the club, and she's going to hopefully love it. It'd be nice to get it into a little pot of some sort. I could slip pot this into a pot for now, but I think I might just put it back in its plastic pot and let it grow on a little bit and just keep it safe and sound. Other than that, yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed the point of view footage this time. Hopefully it shows you a bit more detail of how I do it and how I position the branching. Again, this is just the first styling of this tree. It needs a lot more pads to grow out and thicken out, but you can see the work that gets involved. You can see how I would do wire all branches. Probably I use, apart from this branch, I'll probably over wire in terms of I use a heavier gauge than needed, but that just helps me position the branches easily and be able to twist and bend them as much as I like. You see the nice flow of the trunks as well. This one twists up and that one twists up, so they kind of follow each other nicely. Alright guys, hope that's a good video for you guys to see, and I'll see you soon for more to come.